Diss tracks have long been the dramatic cutting edge of hip hop, where personal beefs turn into lyrical battles that can make or break careers. Today, we're diving into the most devastating diss tracks ever released, tracing how each one changed the game and left an unforgettable mark on our music culture. Let's start with a fierce classic that set the standard for all diss tracks to come. No Vaseline, Ice Cube. Ice Cube's No Vaseline isn't just a diss track, it's the blueprint for how a solo artist drops a bomb on the very group that launched him. Released in 1991 on his Death Certificate album, this track was Ice Cube's blazing answer to NWA after he split from the group over bitter royalty disputes and betrayals. Before you think it's just another rap feud, hear me out. No Vaseline is a razor-sharp, no-holds-barred lyrical demolition of every NWA member and their manager, Jerry Heller. Cube breaks it down with brutal detail, naming names and laying out the messy business behind the scenes that led to his departure. It's less empty trash talk and more documentary of backstabbing and exploitation. Musically, the track rides on a minimal, aggressive beat that keeps the focus on Cube's venomous delivery. His mix of biting humor and harsh condemnation hits like a spotlight, exposing the cracks in NWA's story of unity and power. It's raw, it's clinical, and it's seriously effective. The impact? No Vaseline cracked wide open NWA's public image and firmly cemented Ice Cube's solo career as a heavyweight. Fans and critics alike still point to this track as the gold standard for diss tracks because it's packed with facts, personal pain, and an unrelenting grind that stops just short of outright hatred. But here's where it gets interesting. The song didn't just wound NWA, it set a new bar for how diss tracks would be crafted going forward. Instead of vague jabs, Cube came armed with receipts and precise accusations, turning his escape from the group into a historic mic drop. Sure, some of the rhetoric ignited controversy, but the track's legacy as a classic is undisputed. If you think that's tough, wait until you hear what Tupac unleashed next with Hit 'Em Up. Hit 'Em Up, Tupac. When it dropped in 1996, Hit 'Em Up wasn't just another diss track, it was a full-on assault with real-world consequences. Released as the Notorious B-side to Tupac's single How Do You Want It, it targeted Notorious B.I.G. and his whole crew right at the height of the East Coast-West Coast feud. This track wasn't subtle, it was raw, aggressive, and violent, with zero jokes. Tupac wasn't just throwing shade, he was throwing lyrical punches. Before you think it was just a heated rap battle, hear me out. This track took a rivalry already simmering within the industry and turned it into a full-blown national spectacle. Releasing it as the B-side of a hit meant Hit 'Em Up sneaked brutal threats and personal jabs into mainstream ears. You could be bumping the catchy A-side and then suddenly get hit with some of the hardest bars ever recorded. Lyrically, Tupac shredded Biggie's personal life and street creds like no one had dared before. He accused Biggie of betrayal, questioned his manhood, and launched insults not just at him, but at Junior Mafia and even Biggie's wife, Faith Evans. There's pure venom in every verse, claims of affairs, threats of violence, loud boasts of dominance. The outlaws backing him only cranked up the aggression, turning it into a full group attack rather than a solo rant. Here's where it gets dark. Many fans and historians debate just how much Hit 'Em Up escalated tensions that already existed. Some blame it for fueling a feud that tragically ended with both Tupac and Biggie's deaths. Whether it caused the violence or merely mirrored it, the track turned rap beef into a deadly cultural war where diss tracks were more than words. They were part of a volatile, life-threatening drama. Despite, or because of, that chaos, Hit 'Em Up remains one of the most fearless and venomous diss records ever made. Its relentless aggression reset the bar for attacking rivals, influencing countless diss tracks in style and intensity. It showed a diss could be a weapon, not just art. If you think that was harsh, wait until you hear Nas's surgical lyrical counterattack in Ether. Ether is the diss track that didn't just answer Jay-Z's takeover, it changed the whole game. Dropped in 2001, at the peak of one of hip-hop's most intense rivalries, it was Nas's razor-sharp response to Jay-Z's attack on his relevance and authenticity. This wasn't the usual brash, in-your-face roasting. Instead, Nas went for a cold, calculated psychological dismantling, picking apart Jay-Z's image and business choices with surgical precision. Before you think it was just a simple comeback track, hear me out. Takeover was aggressive, sure, but Nas flipped the script. Ether questioned every part of Jay-Z's credibility, from his street hustle to his corporate moves. Lines like ethereal, Kalaz with no faith, throwing shots at your race, and the infamous how much of Biggie's rhymes is gonna come out your fat lip hit fans with a mix of personal jabs and lyrical skill. Instead of throwing wild insults, Nas layered his verses with sustained lyrical precision, challenging Jay's whole persona over a haunting, anthemic beat. The impact? Massive. Ether didn't just respond to a diss. It rejuvenated Nas's career. Critics and fans alike saw Nas regain his throne after a dip post-Illmatic. Public opinion shifted almost overnight, and Nas was no longer the underdog, but a force demanding respect again. The track was so potent that it basically coined the term ether in hip-hop slang, meaning to completely destroy your opponent, utter annihilation in one song. It's also worth noting the ongoing debate: is Ether the superior diss, or does Jay-Z's Takeover still hold that crown? It's one of rap's great arguments because both tracks serve different purposes. Takeover was the initial power move, full of facts and strategic shots. Ether was the comeback that never stopped hitting, emotional and lyrical enough to flip the narrative and reclaim respect. Ether stands as the perfect example of how a diss track can do more than shut down an opponent. It can save your legacy and redefine battle rap skill. Nas went beyond insults. He dismantled Jay-Z's empire line by line. And that's not just a moment in history. It's a blueprint that every rapper still studies. But if you think a personal lyrical demolition is intense, just wait until we get to Drake's Back-to-Back, where social media turns a beef into a cultural takeover. Back-to-Back Drake. Drake's Back-to-Back proves that in the social media era, a diss track can be a viral meme weapon and a mainstream chart topper all at once. Dropped in 2015 after Meek Mill's explosive ghostwriting accusations on Twitter, this wasn't just a song, it was a masterclass in turning digital savvy into rap battle domination. Before Back-to-Back, diss tracks usually stayed on mixtapes or albums, but Drake flipped the script with sharp humor, catchy one-liners, and a club-ready beat that made people dance while roasting Meek Mill. The line, "Is that a world tour or your girl's tour?" became a viral catchphrase overnight. The upbeat production by Boy One Day and Alan Ritter pulled it out of the typical anger-fueled rap battle box, making it as much a radio hit as a verbal takedown. This was more than just audio assault. It was a coordinated media blitz. Drake performed Back-to-Back live with images mocking Meek Mill flashing on screens, turning concerts into theatrical moments where the feud played out in real time. Memes flooded Instagram and Twitter, spreading those lines faster than any mixtape leak ever could. The track blurred music and internet culture, turning a rivalry into a viral sensation. The impact was brutal and immediate. Despite Meek's commercial success, his album Dreams worth more than money-topped charts. Public perception swung heavily against him. Back-to-Back framed Meek as the desperate underdog resorting to Twitter drama instead of bars. Even casual listeners who don't follow rap battles started associating Meek with defeat. It was like Drake turned the internet itself into a jury, handing down the verdict. Back-to-Back also made history as the first ever diss track nominated for a Grammy in Best Rap Performance. That showed diss track's evolving role, not just underground feuds, but legit mainstream art, acknowledged by the industry. Suddenly, throwing shade was also throwing down at award shows. Yet, this track sparked debates about power dynamics in rap beefs. Did Drake's massive platform and polished production give him an unfair advantage? Some argued the beef was less about lyrical skill and more about athlete-level media strategy and marketing muscle. The idea of diss tracks as pure artistry got complicated by their role as social media campaigns designed for shares, retweets, and streams, where timing and memeability hit harder than bars. Yet, but here's the thing, whether you loved it or thought it too polished, Back-to-Back redefined what winning a rap battle means today. It wasn't just who spit nastiest bars, it was who dominated feeds, got the memes, and owned the internet. If you think that's powerful, wait until we get into Pusha T's ruthless reveal in The Story of Adidon. The Story of Adidon, Pusha T. Pusha T's The Story of Adidon isn't just a diss track, it's a full-blown investigative expose wrapped in bars. Dropped in 2018 during one of rap's tensest feuds, Pusha didn't just trade clever punchlines with Drake, instead, he unraveled a hidden story that rocked Drake's carefully constructed public image to its core. Before this, diss tracks mostly thrived on sharp, witty insults or bravado, but Adidon blurred lines, merging investigative journalism with hip-hop beef. The song famously revealed Drake's secret son, a bombshell that had been under wraps, making the track feel more like a media dossier than a traditional rap battle statement. But here's where it got even darker. The cover art was a shocker itself. Pusha used a real photo of Drake in blackface, a decades-old image that ignited fierce debates about racial representation and accountability. That blackface picture wasn't just an accessory, it was a statement, amplifying the diss beyond music into a cultural conversation that resonated far beyond the rap community. Interestingly, Drake never fired back with a direct direct diss track. Rumors swirled about a response so devastating it was withheld, but officially he stayed silent on the musical front, highlighting just how deep the impact was. This silence said more than any verse could, signaling a moment in hip-hop when a diss could genuinely destabilize an artist's public narrative and force real-world reckonings. Now, this also sparked heavy ethical debates. Was it fair game to drag a child into a rap feud? Does exposing someone's personal history cross a line? Fans and critics remain split, but there's no denying the story of Adidon changed the game. It pushed diss culture into uncharted territory where real-life revelations, PR crises, and music collide. This track marks a turning point. Diss records weren't just about competing for street cred or lyrical supremacy anymore. They became weapons of personal exposure, capable of rewriting the rules of celebrity and public perception. When rap beef meets investigative journalism, the fallout is something else entirely. If you thought that was intense, wait until we break down Eminem's Kill Shot next, a diss track that brought generational warfare and YouTube bar-by-bar analysis to a whole new level. Kill Shot. Eminem's Kill Shot is the ultimate rapid response diss, a masterclass in lyrical demolition. Dropped just 11 days after Machine Gun Kelly's Rap Devil, it was Marshall Mathers telling a younger rival, "I'm still the king," but timing alone didn't make Kill Shot a cultural event. It's the dense, technically sharp barrage of bars Eminem unleashed that turned heads. Before you dismiss it as just another beef, hear me out. Kill Shot shattered YouTube records with tens of millions of views on day one, becoming the most watched hip-hop diss track drop ever. Fans flooded reaction videos, bar-by-bar breakdowns, and deep dives into Eminem's layered wordplay. This is the kind of track that demands repeated listens just to catch every rhyme, jab, and sarcastic punch that even battle rap vets had to respect. Officially, Kill Shot answers nearly every line MGK fired in Rap Devil, mocking his career, lyrical skills, and relevance. Eminem's flow shifts constantly, pausing to deliver subtle insults or dismantle MGK's claims over a minimalist beat that never distracts from the verbal assault. It's Eminem at his most clinical, precise, cold, and surgical, far from a hype track. Here's where it gets interesting. While many crowned Kill Shot the clear win for Eminem, a vocal group of fans stood behind MGK's youthful energy and style. The feud wasn't just bars, it was a generational clash. Streaming-era listeners debated if Eminem's technical skill or MGK's rebellious catchiness better captured modern rap's spirit. Some analysts say Kill Shot profoundly influenced MGK's shift away from rap toward pop-punk 2 years later, with Tickets to My Downfall. Was the diss so brutal MGK had to reinvent himself? Maybe. Or maybe it was a natural evolution, sped up by the fallout. Either way, Kill Shot marked a turning point in MGK's career identity. This feud also shows how diss tracks in the digital age aren't just music. YouTube reactors, Twitter fights, memes, and streaming numbers mean the legacy unfolds live, shaped as much by online chatter as by the lyrics themselves. By 2018, a diss track was an event that the internet couldn't ignore. Loud, divisive, and everywhere. Kill Shot proves that in a world where every bar is instantly analyzed and amplified, lyrical skill still counts. But so do timing, platform savvy, and cultural relevance. If you think this battle was intense, wait until you see what Kendrick Lamar brings next. Meet the Grams, Kendrick Lamar. Kendrick Lamar's Meet the Grams dropped on May 3rd, 2024, right at the boiling point of one of the decade's most intense rap rivalries, Kendrick versus Drake. But here's the twist. This isn't your typical punchline-filled diss track. Instead, Kendrick delivers a somber, almost haunting open letter targeting Drake's family members, the son, the parents, even an alleged daughter, turning the usual battle into a deeply personal moral indictment. Before you dismiss it as just another diss, hear me out. Kendrick's approach breaks the mold by blurring the lines between a rap battle and an intimate character study. The track's structure is inventive, almost theatrical, unfolding like a series of conversations or confrontations rather than a straightforward lyrical attack. It's emotionally heavy, pushing beyond bravado to question not just Drake's skills or status, but his role as a father and family figure. Officially, Meet the Grams didn't shoot up the charts or rack up mainstream accolades like some earlier diss tracks. Instead, its impact came from psychological depth and shock value. Fans and critics alike noticed how it sparked fierce ethical debates about bringing non-public family members into a feud. Usually, diss tracks stick to professional jabs or street credibility. Kendrick went deeper, making listeners uncomfortable by involving vulnerable loved ones, something rare and controversial in the culture of rap beefs. Lyrically, Kendrick toggles between confronting Drake directly and addressing his family, almost like a messenger or prophet delivering hard truths. He exposes alleged flaws and inconsistencies in Drake's character with a quiet but relentless persistence. The sparse beat and somber tone amplify the gravity, making this less of a crowd pleaser and more of an emotional reckoning. But here's where it gets really wild. Meet the Grahams wasn't an isolated shot, it was a calculated prelude, setting the stage for a second, more aggressive diss track released less than 24 hours later. This layered offense strategy showed Kendrick wasn't just playing for barbs, but orchestrating a campaign. First, destabilize psychologically, then strike with fire. Because it's so new, Meet the Grahams hasn't yet settled into the typical diss track canon with gold plaques or viral TikTok memes. But its legacy is already visible. It reshaped what a diss track can be, challenging conventions by transforming rap battle rhetoric into a charged ethical conversation. It forced the community to ask, how far is too far in this culture of musical combat? Next up, we'll dive into Kendrick's follow-up, Not Like Us, which flips the script again, delivering an explosive, high-energy anthem that turned the feud into a West Coast rallying cry. Not Like Us, Kendrick Lamar flipped the diss track playbook with Not Like Us, released less than 20 hours after his darker salvo, Meet the Grahams, in May 2024. This wasn't just another bitter rap battle entry, it was a high-energy West Coast anthem designed to rally a crowd, not just take shots in the booth. The beat had that unmistakable West Coast bounce, filled with chant-ready hooks that made the diss feel less like a personal attack and more like a communal declaration of culture. Before you write it off as just another catchy anthem, hear me out. Kendrick transformed the diss track from a lone artist's gripe into a massive cultural event. The repeated phrases and call and response style invited listeners to join the fight, turning passive listeners into active participants. Suddenly, the diss wasn't isolated to headphones or rap fans. It became a live, collective experience ringing out at parties, sports arenas, and viral social clips. The music video dropped on Independence Day, July 4th, a move dripping with symbolism. Kendrick turned his win over Drake into a metaphorical celebration of victory and liberation, timed to a day synonymous with freedom in America. The visuals bristled with West Coast pride, dancers, street scenes, vibrant energy, blending the audio attack with a strong visual identity. It wasn't just a song anymore, it was an event coordinated across streams, YouTube, social media, and real-world spaces. What makes Not Like Us a standout in diss track history is exactly this multi-channel approach. Rather than relying solely on sharp lyrics, Kendrick deployed every part of the modern media ecosystem. The track dominated playlists, the video sparked memes and dance challenges, and regional pride turned it into a protest anthem against the feud's target. This made it a high watermark for diss tracks, simple in structure, devastating in impact. This sparked debate. Is Not Like Us too simple to rank with lyrical classics like Nas's Ether? Or does its cultural reach make it a new gold standard? Critics remain split. Some say the song's punchy repetition lacks the subtle wordplay of purists' favorites. Others argue its power to turn a feud into a mass cultural ritual shows how far diss tracks have evolved past just bars on a beat. The truth is, Not Like Us perfectly captures the 2020s diss landscape, a fusion of music, video, social media, and regional identity propelled by virality. Kendrick didn't just release a song, he launched a cultural rally uniting a crowd around his artistic victory. This is diss track's evolution, from private battles to multi-platform spectacles where the audience matters as much as the artist. If you thought a diss track was just throwing shade, Not Like Us proves it's about lighting up the sky for everyone watching. Celebratory, confrontational, and definitive, a late-stage evolution of what a devastating diss can look like in the most connected era yet. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more, click the video on the screen now.